The dude abides.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Welcome into OverDrive for your Friday afternoon. We're live on TSN 4, TSN 1050, streaming on TSN's YouTube channel. My name is Aaron Korolnik in for Brian Hayes, alongside my friends Jeff O'Neill and Frank Corrado.
Come on, man. This is the big times. Yeah, you can't start it off
it was
like
it was the Led Zeppelin. The Led Zeppelin got me going.
You could be snoring and say stupid stuff at 6 a.m. with Coco.
True.
It does not
This is
fly.
the big time.
It's the big time.
I know.
And I got to say,
tough start.
AK, I know you love Coco. Frankie, I know you love Brian Mudryk. But it's nice every once in a while to just shake it up a little bit. I'm happy to see you guys. Very happy to see you guys, if you know what I mean.
Likewise, buddy. Are we going to be roomies, by the way? Like, you and I had a little text exchange back and forth where we're starting to float possibilities out there. Like roommates on the road, putting competitions in the hallway. Like, what do we got going on, you and I?
Well, I was kind of concerned what you thought of my request because we were talking World Juniors in Minnesota, and I was like, we were talking about just doing dinners and stuff, and I'm like, the hell, let's just be roomies like back in the day, back in the National Hockey League. And you wrote back, how about just connecting rooms? And I think you thought that there was a seriousness from me, which I found rather concerning, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't.
75% of me thought that was serious. That's on me.
When did they do away with the roommates in the National Hockey League? Like, did you have roommates, Frank, when you were finished?
The CBA after the 2013 lockout, you only got a roommate if you were on your entry-level deal. And how about this? So I got picked up on waivers by Toronto, and the first road trip we go on, I have a roommate, and I'm not on my entry-level deal anymore, so I have to, broach the subject with our team services guy, like, hey, man, and then it's kind of weird with your roommate, too. You're like, nothing against you, but I don't have to do this anymore, so I'm going to get my own room. So I had to have that conversation. Not the most comfortable thing.
Who was your favorite roommate back in the day? Oh, anyone come to mind in particular?
I had some amazing roommates. My first roommate was one of the best gentlemen to ever play in the league. His name was Brad McCrimmon. God rest his soul. He was 35 years old. I was 19. And I remember he had this big, grizzly, hairy chest. And I walked into the room in New York City, and he was lying in his silk underpants on the bed, on top of the covers, both windows, middle of December, 20 below zero, wide open. And I walked in, and I was like, oh, man, what have I gotten myself into? And he was just reading these, political newspapers, and I'm like, this guy is not even going to want to talk to me. I don't even know about politics. And I turned the TV on at 9 o'clock. He was like, shut the TV off. And I was like, no way, dude. 9 p.m.? And he's like, shut the TV off. And I'm like, well, for what? And he said, tomorrow, I know he was kind of joking, but he's like, tomorrow's the biggest bleeping game of your life. That's why. And I was like, okay. And I just lied there staring at the ceiling. At that time, I was going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then he just said to me, right before I was about to close my eyes, he's like, do you know why you're sleeping in the bed closest to the door? And I said, no, I don't. And he goes, because if bad guys come in, they'll kill you first, and I have a chance to get away. And then he just didn't say anything the rest of the night. And I was just lying there like, what bad guys are coming in here? We're in one of the nicest hotels in New York City.
Thanks, man. And you know what's crazy about that? Back then, it's not like you could sit there and scroll Instagram for 2 hours and just mindlessly take your mind off things. You're staring at the ceiling. And by the way, I don't know, AK, you're on Instagram. I don't know if you've gotten in trouble with this yet, but I have. Now that the Instagram home page is different, if you are in your DMs, which I am a lot because I have a lot of memes that I send back and forth with people, namely you, AK.
True.
If you
Probably
swipe left, it used to take you back to like your page where everything is. Now it takes you to like some Reels page, and the volume is cranked when you go to that page. And I've done it at like 4 a.m. and woken up my wife, and she's turned to me and been like, "Are you out of your mind? What are you doing over there?" I'm like, "I got up to go to the bathroom. I had to check my phone, and this is what happened." I don't know if anyone else has gotten themselves in that kind of trouble.
Like if you have the old weird video playing on a loud decibel.
Some of the stuff that I sent Frank, I mean, not for public consumption, as you can imagine. So you got to keep that one away from your wife. I'm sure a lot of people were sending out the Adam Fantilli OT winner video last night. I mean, a beautiful finish. Adam Fantilli just owns the city of Toronto, apparently. The Blue Jackets beat the Leafs 3-2 in overtime, and you were on the panel last night, Do we start with the positive? And I know they lost the game. I think there are some positives, but certainly some negatives as well, namely the turnover from Max Domi that led to the Fantilli goal. But seems like the team's playing better since Joseph Woll has returned. They look completely different now than they did previously, and here is the video of Domi's turnover that leads to
like that
win.
turnover. You're trying to make a play. I get that, but this is the one that I hate, and I don't know if this is some type of skill moves trick that some kind of coach when you're 14 years old teaches you. The outside poke check to try to strip the puck. And when you're doing that, you're giving up the lane to the net. And if it doesn't work, you're screwed. So that might be a play for Eric Lindros or somebody with man strength that's incredible where you're not going to lose that battle. I just don't know where that would ever come from for someone defending like that to say, I'm going to try an outside and not an inside lane type of poke check, because if it doesn't work, you're screwed. And not only didn't work, he grabbed it and had, like, Frank, can you help me out with that? Like, what is that move? I don't know. Like, I know you're trying to make a play there, but you can't give him the inside lane like that. It's a hell of a play. The kid made a hell of a play. He played a hell of a game. But that outside poke check, I don't know where that came from. Austin Matthews pulls it off a lot. He does. He strips people of pucks.
If you were forechecking, I could understand that, right? Like, I'm going on an offensive situation. I'm going to try and go right after your stick. I don't necessarily care that much about where your body's going because I'm 200 feet away from my own net. You start to get closer to your own net, it becomes a territorial thing. But that's the difference between a defenseman playing in that spot and a forward playing in that spot. Forward is wired. I got to go for the stick. I got to take away the puck. Adam Fantilli, like, that kid is a horse out there. You see him last night. Man. He's up. He's a thoroughbred. He's up and down the ice, and he flies around, and wicked release on the shot. Hell of a player, hell of a night for him. He now continues to do that in Toronto. I think for Toronto's point of view, you're probably pretty happy with the fact that Joseph Woll had another good game, and despite all the injuries to a number of key players, like, you were in the game, it could have looked way worse. But I mean, if we're just picking apart small little moments here and there, it's more than that for Toronto, and they kind of are what they are at this point. Like, I just don't know how much better they actually are than what their record indicates. 20 games into the season. That's the nature of who the Leafs are right now. But hey, they get a point. There's that play that's a forward trying to play D, and it's just unnatural.
Early mini Jerry's Fantilli 2030 Olympics.
Yeah, I think he'll be on that team. He'll be one of the kind of secondary guys, maybe a kind of a prime guy. Who knows what's coming around the corner, but I definitely think it'll be fascinating to see how many guys are on this team this coming Olympics that will be on the 2030 team.
Buddy, like, I'll tell you what, I saw that Tom Willson last night in Montreal, and we've been talking a lot about Celebrini and Bedard and Matthew Schaefer. Have we talked about Tom Willson that much? Because going into last night's game, he was leading the Caps in goals and points. In the prior game against Edmonton, he had played 23 minutes that night, and he's absolutely smoking guys out there. And I'm like, well, if that guy's not a lock to make the team, and the hit last night against Jake Evans was definitely, it was high. It should have been a penalty. But if that guy's not on the team, what are we doing? Like, that, he's got to be there. Does he not?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to try to put down people, but it seems like everybody that wants to talk about possession and numbers and who has this and defensive stats, they're like, they just say, oh, that guy's a goon, so why would we even talk about him? But at the end of the day, and that right there, what you're watching on the screen, him taking that elbow on Evans, that could be a danger at the Olympics. Like, you get a big game and you want to bowl somebody over with those European refs. Some dude from Latvia that's reffing the game has never seen a monster like that, and you start crushing guys. Huh?
Dude, Edgar's going to call you 5 in a game there. Edgar's the referee, 100%.
Edgar's Merzlikins, the ref at the Olympics. He will give you a 5 in a game if he sees bodies flying all over the ice. It's like the European refs, man. If they see like any kind of hard-hitting hit where a guy's just helmet pops off or it looks egregious, it's dangerous stuff. But as far as changing the momentum of a game, or this is kind of really barbaric thinking, but you could hit a guy and take a top defenseman out of the tournament, that helps your team. That used to be like kind of an old school thought. God forbid you ever even say something like that, but you're in a big game and you have a crushing hit, take a guy out of the game. That's where the guy can be valuable.
Doogie has created a stir on social media. On the OverDrive Twitter account, has posed the question, should John Tavares be on Team Canada's roster? And I believe the number's over 50%.
I'm just going to let everybody know, I hate to break it to you. He was a year younger last year at the Four Nations, and he probably wasn't even on the inside track of making that team. He's not making the team. Like, he's not going to be making the team. I'm sorry to inform people.
The John Tavares story is a great story for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, around the league, it gets recognition, it gets respect because he continues to be so consistent, and he's not getting any younger. And he took the discount to stay in Toronto. But in retrospect to this team, like in Team Canada, I mean, we're talking about guys that are like really fleet of foot, like galloping around the ice, and you can pick the best of what you want for this team. You could pick the best hitter, Tom Willson. You could pick the best two-way guy. You could pick the best, like the best of everything is available for you. I don't see him falling in line with that criteria. It's a great story for the Toronto Maple Leafs, though, and it should be recognized here in this market, absolutely.
You could look at a situation where it would be John Tavares or Braden Point, because I don't think Braden Point's lighting the league on fire, but guess what? Braden Point's already named to the team. Mm-hmm. Braden Point's a guy that's already been named to the team.
Reinhart, too. I mean, these guys are on.
That's right. They're on. So you're not debating any of those guys. So as much as John's been a great story and he's been unbelievable for the Leafs, I mean, I don't know if their record could be much worse than it is, but where would they be without the guy? He's been one of their best performers night in and night out.
Yeah, and frankly, for the Maple Leafs and their fans, it'd probably be a good thing if John Tavares wasn't playing at the Olympics. You give him that time off, rest, relax for the second half, because this guy's playing a lot and playing some very important minutes for the Maple Leafs. He was great again last night. He's up to 27 points in 21 games, is John Tavares. He might have a career season at 35, and it's a testament to the guy, the work ethic, and we know the contract that he took in the offseason. He deserves a lot of love from Leaf fans because, man, he has been as good as you could possibly ask from a guy at his age and the way he's been playing.
100%, man. And you know what? Like, listen, that guy took a lot of heat when he was the captain and he was making $11 million, and he was a victim of the flat cap, and everyone thought the cap was going to go up and $11 million was going to look better than it actually did. And we always held him to that standard. And when the team didn't win the playoffs, he was the guy who had to answer to it. And a lot of times after the games, when they would lose, you didn't like the answers that he was giving you because it just felt like there was no truth to it. It was robotic. You know, to use a Brad Treliving term, it was vanilla at the time. And now this year, where it feels like it's fallen apart to a certain degree. Matthews isn't healthy. Marner's gone. Nyes is out of the lineup. Stolarz is hurt, and when he was playing, wasn't playing well. Chris Tanev, the guy who's shining through, who used to make $11 million, now makes $4 million, is John Tavares. So all the shrapnel he took, and probably some of it from us, I mean, he deserves his flowers with the way he's playing right now. He absolutely
It's been
does.
An incredible run. And I just like to correct one thing about what did you call the name of the ref at the Olympics?
Edgar's?
It's NHL refs. The Hayes man, who's a high-ranking official in the reffing community, he texted me and said NHL refs. So let's get
NHL ice surface too, right? So
yeah, I
we're
caught
supposed
myself
to know
saying
that,
and
man.
I think Cheryl said it last night, you know. She was like, the style of play, the big rink, and I think Dreg said it's like, that's it over there. It's NHL ice, man. There's no giant ice surface. And I'm glad. I'm glad it is.
Yeah, assuming they actually get the rink ready, right? That is another question in Milan.
Dude.
I don't know what's going on there. Apparently, it's
Dude,
still
I remember
not
the
built.
dome. The dome, you guys, this is way before your time. The dome opening, it was like people were walking in for the first game, and they were still changing toilets and light bulbs in there to make sure that place was ready. But this place, there's a potential disaster around the corner. Like if somebody from the PA or somebody goes and takes a walk around to that rink and says it's unsafe for the players, you could have a big problem on your hands.
Well, what the hell are you going to do? Where are you going to play? You're going to go to Switzerland and play the games, or Austria. You know what's crazy? Like, I did 2 years in Europe, like with injuries, of course. If you need something done from them, it'll be next Monday. Or, yeah, we'll get to it. When they need something done from you, they needed it yesterday. And they badger you and pester you. And now everyone needs them to finish this arena. And sadly, it's my countrymen who can't get the job done. It's very sad stuff. Very sad.
They'll get it ready.
They
got to be
this thing
optimistic because we need this tournament in February. I know Mike Johnson will be heading over to Milan. He's going to join us just after 5 o'clock. Jeff Gorton, the president of hockey ops for the Montreal Canadiens, leaves Habs tomorrow night in Montreal. That'll be a lot of fun. He's coming up at 5:30. Luke Willson, one half of Team Owen Wilson, big win last night. Some Now We Go chants potentially coming up.
Now We Go chants, but I think AK, you know the gambling game, and we're in tough.
You guys have momentum. Momentum is very important in gambling,
but
and you guys
can admit that's all we have is momentum.
Well, small victories, and I have heard that Al's brother has sent in a special video from his cruise that we will play as well. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Luke Wilson standing by. You're watching and listening to Overdrive on TSN 1050, TSN 4, and TSN's YouTube channel.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
If you smell what the
Owen Wilson
is cooking.
Big night for Owen Wilson as we return here on Overdrive. We're brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Korolnik, Corrado, O'Neill, and Luke Wilson. Not a professional athlete. No salute from yours truly. Luke?
You can't do it.
No.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm tempted.
What's up,
but
boys?
Good to see you, Luke. Good to see you. How you feeling? +9.
I feel
big cover for your Texans.
Big cover, Parts. They try to bait us into taking the Bills. We're pro athletes, Parts. There's no way we don't rent cars, and we're seeing the board. We are seeing the board right now.
I know. And just a correction there. You said the sentence wrong. We don't rent crappy cars.
I did. I gotta make sure I'm on that. I'm on that.
All right, so Luke, you guys are feeling a lot better than Bills fans today. I mean, not the best performance. Josh Allen was under constant duress, sacked 8 times. He was just running around for his life last night. That Houston D is nasty, but the Bills, 7-4, the division might be gone. How do you feel about Buffalo at this moment?
AK, the reality is you could get into like the weeds of this thing, but we're thin on defense to start the year, and they've lost their best players. Ed Oliver, the big signing of Michael Hoyt, obviously, as well. It's tough to come around that. And you were watching right now Spencer Brown. He's an unbelievable offensive line, but he's playing with one arm yesterday. And you got to respect the toughness, but he couldn't get it done against a great pass rusher in Will Anderson Jr. with only one shoulder. So this defense for the Texans are real. And I know that right now everyone's cold on the Texans. And there's, you got to look at the recent success they've had where they started 0-3, I believe, and they've won 6 of 8, and their defense is statistically the best defense in the league. I will say this, as far as the Bills' defense, when they're banged up like this, I have found in the past that McDermott can really game plan and help them out. So the short week also, I thought, jammed the Bills. That's the one silver lining. I do think McDermott, for better or for worse, is a very good defensive mind. So having a full prep week would have helped them against the Texans, but it's tough sledding, man. They don't have the Johnnies and Joes. Everyone wants to talk about the X and O side and Joe Brady, where it's like, Kincaid's out. So who are you throwing the ball to? Honestly, Keelan Coleman's a healthy scratch. It's like you got Khalil Shakir, and that's pretty much it. After that, it's just a group of guys right now.
Parts, what is the head coach? where does the head coach fall in all of this? Because I work with somebody doing Leaf games who's adamant that he thinks that the Buffalo Bills need a change at coach. I think he's a good coach. He has been there a long time. He can't seem to break through with the big one. But what are your thoughts on that?
I see where he's coming from. And my thing right now is, you go to Brandon Beane, and it's like, oh, we think we can win with the roster we have. And they can win, but not consistently. The margin of error is very thin. So I would love to know, if I could be in that organization, who is telling the GM that? Who is telling the front office that they don't need to go out and get someone? And again, yesterday was another prime example. They played like garbage, but they're still in the game. There was a moment there where they're down 7. Wouldn't it have been nice to have Rashid Shaheed on a big play? Or perhaps you overpaid for Waddle. Wouldn't it have been nice at some point yesterday that, even though you would have had to overpay for him, to have Quinnen Williams on your D-line? Like, that was a crucial game, and AK, you said it, where it's like, how are they going to win the division? And I asked Dave Naylor, by the way, unbelievable, Dave Naylor, the nail gun, love that guy. But I asked him on the show after the game. He's the best, okay? And this was a spur of the moment. They just stuck him like, Luke, you're going to ask Naylor questions. He had no idea what was coming. And I said to him, I'm like, who do you feel good against right now playing if you're the Bills on the road in the playoffs? And he had the only correct answer, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's a legitimate opportunity for Pittsburgh to blow this division lead. And now you're looking at, on the first round, you're going in and playing Baltimore. You have the second worst run defense in the NFL. And in round 1, you're potentially going to see, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Like, there's
Parks,
no Bills fan that feels good about that.
1 week, Bills fans are like, bring anybody on. It doesn't matter. Or not Bills fans, but analysts like yourself would say they should. They have a big win. It's like, bring anybody on. They shouldn't be afraid of anybody. And now this week, it's like maybe the Steelers. That's a crazy flip flop.
It's a crazy flip flop. But here's the thing: is like it was after the KC game. The KC game, you're sitting there and you're like, whoa. And I said on the thing, I'm like, that might be the most statement win I have ever seen Buffalo make. Okay, but since then, and this is a what have you done for me lately? They've gotten more injuries. Okay, they've lost a couple brutal games, and like everyone's like, oh, do you see Josh scored 6 touchdowns against who? The Bucs? I love Baker Mayfield, I really do, but the Bucs are not a Super Bowl ready team right now, especially with Bucky Irving and whatever he's got going on there. And their defense outside of Vita Vea is average at best. Vita really saves that whole situation. So, like, it depends what we're talking about. We're like, again, after the KC game, I could not get over how great that win was. But since then, you have not been that team. And I don't put a ton of stock into the performance against Tampa Bay, because you're not going to be seeing Tampa Bay defenses in the playoffs. That's just the reality.
So, you hear reports after the game last night that the zippers from the equipment bags being packed up are louder than the conversations that are being had between the players after a game. Like, that's quiet, man. And listen, things can turn around, sure, but you've been in a lot of locker rooms. When it's like that, and it's like a morgue after a game, is it not way less likely for things to turn around when that's the kind of morale that everyone's walking around and carrying?
Yes, Frankie. It's much less likely, and the only cure is winning. There's no hugs, oh, we're still boys. It's like, I don't care how toxic or how friendly or what part of the spectrum you're on. The only thing to cure this is winning. And again, you go from the ultimate high of absolutely smacking Kansas City to a 17-point loss to the Miami Dolphins. Let me say that again. A 17-point loss to the Miami Dolphins. Okay. You go toe-to-toe with the Bucs, and if it wasn't for a late turnover, that game looked like it was going to be who has the ball last. And then you come out here, and I'll be very frank with you guys. I thought the Bills were lucky to keep the score as it was. Like, that was a 4-point win that felt like, for the Texans, it felt like it was a 21-point win. 8 sacks, 3 turnover takeaways for the Texans, and a turnover on down. Like, it was utter domination. And once again, boys, I want to bring this up. Of the 19 points scored yesterday by the Bills, 7 of them were on a kick return. So on a short week, again, you can put that in there. Buffalo showed up to Texas, to Houston, Texas, and scored 12 points offensively, and one of them was a 45-yard scamper from James Cook. So you got a big play, and that was pretty much it.
So,
Just
Luke,
the
Bills fans are trying to paint the positive picture that, yes, they're not going to win the division, but there's a chance they avoid KC, they avoid Baltimore in round one, and potentially go to Denver or Indy or New England. Do you like Buffalo's chances going into one of those spots on Wild Card weekend? Because you can make the case that might be an easier matchup than maybe hosting Kansas City. Or hosting
I would agree
Baltimore.
with that case. I would agree with that. I don't want to host whoever gets KC. I don't care what their record is. I don't care if KC sneaks in with the 7 seed. Nobody wants to see Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That's just a fact. So I agree with that. But my point would be, if you have to go to Indianapolis, you have a horrible run defense. If you really look at this, do you want to see Jonathan Taylor? The guy might be MVP of the NFL this year at running back. So I don't love that matchup. Now you go down the board here. Denver, the second best defense in the NFL. Did we see how we fared against the first best defense in the NFL? I don't love that matchup either. Now, I like the matchup as far as, it's easier on the defense, but that is not a matchup you want to see if you're Buffalo right now. So, again, I think the only one you're feeling good about, okay about, is going into Pittsburgh. That would be...
They have Rodgers with the wrist.
Correct. Into Pittsburgh, if that's the case. If you have to go into Baltimore, now we're talking a very different story.
So Joe Burrow looks like he's going to return this week. He's been out since the early part of the season, had surgery.
What does that even mean, though, AK? What is their record right now?
They're 3-7, and that's my question for Luke. I mean, this guy's always hurt. The chances to make the playoffs, almost zero. They probably have to win out. Why bring back Burrow, considering the circumstances?
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things, guys, where if you're a competitor and he's healthy to go, he goes. You pay him this money. You don't pay him this money to nurse whatever, his ankle, his wrist, his shoulder, whatever injury he potentially might incur. You come out here and it's like, listen, he's our starting quarterback. We need better vibes right now. We need more reps. Okay. If he's healthy, you play him. You can't play in this league being like, okay, he could play, but we're not gonna because we don't want him to get hurt. That's just not a thought process of a coach. You got to compete. Bottom line. So I get it.
If the Colts beat the Chiefs on Sunday, what does that tell you about the Colts?
The Colts beat the Chiefs on Sunday. That tells me a lot, and the fact of there's been times right now where I've kind of looked and it's like Indiana Jones or Indianapolis Jones has been kind of fading a bit, and it looks like Danny Dimes has been rearing his head, where if they can come out and get a win against a desperate Chiefs team, like the Chiefs are going to be firing everything at them. And these guys know how to play in the big game, and the reality is for Kansas City, every game from here on out is a big game. Like 1 or 2 more losses and they're done. They're not going to the playoffs if they continue to lose. So if the Colts can manage that storm, beat Kansas City, stop Patrick Mahomes, and on the flip side, Steve Spagnuolo's defense is going to be reared up to stop Jonathan Taylor's run game. I think that they'll still have success and it'll be a good matchup, but I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think Jonathan Taylor's going to run for 200 yards like he's pretty much done on everybody else. Okay, so now all of a sudden it's like if Danny Dimes can beat Kansas City with his arm, to me that'll be a big statement.
All right, so let's get to the picks. Hayes and Burrow +9 after the very astute selection of the Texans last night.
I like that, AK.
Team Owen Wilson.
Like that.
Very astute. Listen, I'm rooting for you guys.
Yeah.
I love Now We Go.
I appreciate
it's one of
that.
my favorite things. It's very exciting, and I want to hear it a lot more going forward. Now, Al's brother has sent in a video from his cruise. I believe it's from a beach. And Hayes and Burrow have 2 picks this week. This week they have the Chiefs and the Colts and the Rams and the Buccaneers. Why don't we play the video that Al's brother has sent in?
Oh, God.
What's going on, fellas? Coming to you live from the Ocean Cave Reserves off the coast of the Bahamas, sipping on some Bahama Mamas. And it's time to get back to business. We got to start making some picks here, Hazy B. Only being up 9, not good enough. It's not the standard that we have set this season. So let's get back on the winning ways. I like the Colts +3.5 tonight against the Chiefs this weekend. I mean, they're one of the best offenses in football. Jonathan Taylor is absolutely killing it on the ground. I think it's an Indiana Jones type game, not Danny Dimes. They can keep it to within a field goal against the Chiefs. Let's take the points and take the Colts. Sunday nighter, I like the Rams here. They're 9-1-1 against the Bucks against the spread. It's a high number, 6.5. But look, that is the number one offense in football right now. Matty Stafford playing at an MVP pace. That secondary is brutal. So I think he'll be able to pick them apart with Puka and Devontae Adams. Put up points, and I don't see Baker keeping up. So I like the Rams. I like the Colts. Hayes and Bro, let's go.
Dude, how much money does that guy make at TSN? I'm not screwing around. That guy, I'm just a nosy person, I guess, but I see people like that are just 4 to 7 10-day cruises a year, and it's like
so there's another video of Al's brother making the picks shirtless. Let's play it. No, I'm just kidding. That video does not exist.
Well, I actually was going to say, do you think take one was done tarps off, and then, his girlfriend was like, maybe we should do one with your tarp on just in case?
The CRTC would pull this show off the air really quickly. I know OverDrive is everywhere, but if Al's brother's doing shirtless picks, I mean, I don't know. There's only one way to find out. Maybe the next cruise he's on. So those are the picks from Al's brother. Probably at least 5 drinks deep.
I'll say this, Parts. We need one of those two. We got to capitalize. What did we say yesterday? We got to chip away, okay? And we got to go 2 for 3, okay? So we need one of those to hit, one of those not to. And you look at that, we're on Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. I don't hate it. One of those two guys has to cover. Just one.
Baker Mayfield response game for the Bucks. They have to respond after that.
I agree.
Nonsense.
That's a big number. It's a big number too, Parts.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Look at the opportunity for Team Owen Wilson. You guys could go full 28-3 Patriots here. Epic comeback.
Yeah, we could.
Just think about
if we do that, AK, we will never stop shouting, now we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
My buddy is starting to text me that. Now we go. Hashtag.
Now we go. Yep.
You got to get tattoos. If you come back and win, you guys got to get matching now we go tattoos somewhere on your body.
I'll go Tyson and get it across my forehead. I do not care. I do not care. If we come back from this disaster, I will get hashtag now we go across my forehead.
Yeah.
Parts, I'm
this
locked
is a
now.
movement.
CFL's over. CFL's over. I'm locked in.
All right, so you guys are Team Owen Wilson are on Philadelphia and Dallas.
Yeah.
So that is your pick this week. Why don't you take us through it?
So I'll tell you, it seems like a no-brainer, AK. And I am a little torn on it. And I'll tell you what scared me. Was that I was like, okay, we're taking Philly. And then I go on FanDuel, and I'm like, no way. So taking Philly on the spread right now on FanDuel Canada is plus money. Usually it's a minus 110, and I'm like, whoa. And I think I'll get it out right now, but I think it's minus 122 or something to go the other way. And I'm like, how am I missing? What am I missing here? And to be honest with you, I could have said the same thing about last night. I'm not taking the bait Parts. I think you're on the same team as me here. Listen, so what? The Cowboys went out and beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They also got shell-shocked by Jacoby Brissett in the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. Okay, they lost by 4. I know it's a divisional game. They lost by 4 earlier in the year. I do think it'll be tighter than what we think. But I can't sit here and tell you that I want to take Dallas, even with the new guys in the team. I can't do it, Parts. If you want to, I'll ride with you. But I think we take the Eagles minus 3.5. I really believe it.
Hand the ball off to Saquon all day long and just let him plow through that. That's what we're doing. We're going with the Eagles.
Yeah, we're taking the Eagles, 100% Parts. But here's AK. Maybe you can make sense of this. Plus 3.5 is minus 122 on FanDuel.
Money's coming in on Dallas. Yeah, that's what it is. They're inching closer to a field goal. Yeah.
So is it weird? Does it feel like guys in Philly are almost bored? Their guys are not pissed at Jalen Hurts, but you start to hear things like, I don't know, the way he throws the ball is not the most entertaining for the players involved. Are they just winning too much? Are they bored? I don't get that.
No, Frankie, I think that it's more of a schematic thing, and I'm not going to get bogged down too much of the minutia, but you look at the combo that they have with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. These guys should be I'm going to make a hockey reference, not to the exact, because obviously McDavid's one of the greatest ever, but like it should be like a McDavid Draisaitl kind of vibe. Like we should turn on the highlights, and those two guys should be like, what did they do this week? You know, what combination came in? Like, what amazing play, route, catch. Every week, they're that good. Like Devontae Smith, I'm telling you, is that good at football. So is A.J. Brown. He's a physical specimen. But instead, they're like relegated to like, let's throw it up and hope we catch a 50-50 ball. And I think for both of them, it's just gotten to the point where I'm like, we're just sick of this stuff. Like, we're not asking for difficulty. And I don't put all the blame on Hurts. Like, I think, you know, their OC, Kevin Patullo, is also kind of like, and in limbo with what he wants to do as an offense. So I get the frustration, I really do, because that team, like there's no world in which Detroit's defense should hold that team to what it was, 16 points last week?
Yep.
No world. Absolutely no world that they should ever be held to 16.
It's weird, man.
You have Saquon.
Like, this
is
a team that's having so much success, like the record-wise, but it seems like they have so much internal strife at the exact same time. Never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and again, like on paper, that offense should be rivaling the 2013 Denver Broncos led by Peyton Manning. You have arguably the best runner in the game with Saquon. He was last year. He's obviously not this year. You have A.J. Brown. You have Devontae Smith. And Dallas Goedert is an unsung hero that is a tremendous tight end. You have a quarterback that can run very well and has an unbelievable arm, and you have a very, very good offensive line. It's not as good as last year, but you've got Jordan Mailata, you've got Lane Johnson on there. Like, you have two tremendous tackles. What is the problem, guys? What's the problem?
Great question. They keep on winning, though, but it's not pretty.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really matter when it's all said and done. Luke?
Partsy, just before we get you out of here, are you all bunkered down and ready for an evening? You've got your setup all dialed in right now?
I'm downtown Toronto at the hotel, ready to rumble tonight. Could be a loose night for me, boys.
Oh, what's going on?
He's got a gala tonight.
Big gala. Oh. Yeah, big gala tonight. Going to put the tuxedo on here, boys, right after this call. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, wish me luck. Like a nice. I don't know what your prep was when you went out, like, and we're taking it deep before, but like you get a little older now. Get some water beside the bed, some Advil maybe.
Action. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's some other stuff you can prep for. Like you can get everything all set up.
Good advice.
I'm ready to rumble.
From a true veteran.
Boys,
yes.
Listen, the phone's open, man. If you guys get a wild hair about 10:30, shoot me a note. Gal will be over by then.
Buddy, I'll be in my second REM cycle by then.
Yeah. I know Frankie's interested. He'll be down there for sure. This guy loves tearing it up downtown Toronto.
I'll be in REM cycle number 2 by 10:30 tonight.
Thank you, Luke.
Cheers, boys.
That's Luke Willson. And listen, Luke had a great time at the Grey Cup. The guy was a beast on TV. And
dude, he's a legend. People love the guy.
People love the guy. I haven't seen anyone as popular before in my entire life as Luke Willson, taking pictures with everyone. Unbelievable on the air. And listen, this guy was at the Spirit of Edmonton. He was at all the team parties. He was in the mix. And he's right about the nail gun.
Yeah.
The nail gun and Luke Willson. What a duo.
You can't miss that guy either. The guy's 6'7", and he's just a gigantor human being. And he wheels around with a mullet and a mustache. You literally can't miss him. He's the best. Yeah. What a great guy.
And by the way, AK, how about you? Little Mr. Live Television, 4-hour show. Hey,
dude, you were awesome, AK. You were awesome.
Thank you, fellas. Job. Yes, it was
radio
a great
with
experience.
Your face, as Duffy
radio
calls
with
it.
my face. That is what Duffy called it. Certainly a lot smoother than the introduction to the show when I called Frankie Noodles for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, you thought because. Owen and I were pointing at each other, and you thought something was wrong.
Whatever.
Like,
it's all good. Listen, we're back on the rails in a major way. Mike Johnson coming up in 20 minutes. Jeff Gorton's on the show, the president of hockey ops for the Habs. Leafs Habs tomorrow night, and some big news out of Winnipeg, and it's not good about Connor Hellebuck. We'll tell you about it next.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Just watch me dance.
Mail It In Friday is brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. Oh, I know you missed the Winnipeg Boston Pizza desperately. You'd love to go back. And the city of Winnipeg, not in great spirits this afternoon with the news about Connor Hellebuck out 4 to 6 weeks after undergoing, knee surgery. That's not good news for them. You'll see a lot of Eric Comrie and Thomas Milic going forward. And listen, they're right in the heat of it. I mean, they're at 24 points. A lot of other teams are. The parity in the Western Conference is there. What do you think about Winnipeg going forward here without Hellebuck in the near future?
I'll tell you what, in some of the other divisions that are a dumpster fire, you'd be like, yeah, just kind of try to keep your head above water here and, we'll see what happens. But the Central, man, you want to piss around in the Central for 4 to 6 weeks and slide down the standings, you're going to have a real difficult time getting that back. So,
wow. Yeah, Colorado's not slowing down. Dallas not slowing down. Minnesota's starting to win some games. Utah was good at the start. They would like to turn things around. That's very different than what's going on in the Atlantic, but this is very different for the Winnipeg Jets. Like, they have been able to put aside Connor Hellebuck plays 60-plus games every year, and we just have to worry about the other stuff. Frankie. Yeah, and now you don't have him. You got to go to Eric Comrie, who is a true backup. Right, like not a tandem guy, not a 1B. Like you're going with your true backup and a young kid in Thomas Milic, who's never played in the NHL, like undersized goalie, former World Junior guy. Sure, he's very talented, but this is very different for Winnipeg. And last year for the Jets, they had such a nice cushion, 15-0-1 start. Right, like they were able to go through stretches of 500 hockey or below 500 hockey. Connor Hellebuck means more to the Jets this year than he did to them last year, based on the way they're playing this year. It's going to be that much more difficult for them to get through this.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah, a lot of their fans are just like, their 5-on-5 play is not the same. Like, why aren't we dominating? So I don't know. When you get an injury like that, regardless of the position of the player, one of your best players goes down for that time length. The way the parity is in the league, you could be in big trouble if you don't sort it out or kind of hold your own, which when it's the goaltender, I think it's amplified even more. So they got their work cut out for you. Like you talk about something to spark their 5-on-5 play and be better defensively. That guy going out of the net for that amount of time should wake people up to be better.
12 regulation losses last year for Connor Hellebuck and 8 shutouts. Like that's the type of performance he had last season.
Trophy winner, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's been great this year as well. And I guess the Vezina is wide open now if you want to rule Hellebuck out for it, which I think is a little bit presumptuous. I don't think he's done yet. I mean, the guy's putting up great numbers this year, but I think that's a really fascinating development there, no doubt. Also fascinating last night in Montreal, Frank. I know you were there with the Habs against the Caps, and you saw Alexander Ovechkin rack up the hat trick. I mean, he's on fire again. He's on fire again.
On fire, man.
And he's on pace for 39 all of a sudden. A slow start, but Ovechkin's ripping them home again. And look out, here comes Washington.
It's amazing that last night Alex Ovechkin gets his first power play goal of the season. And there it is, right off the faceoff. That was his first power play goal this year. He had 7 goals going into last night's game. And it's not like Ovi dominates or takes over a game, but when he gets a chance to shoot it in a good spot, he's just not missing.
It's a goal.
Like that, it is. And like now, if he starts getting going in the one-timer like that, his office, he doesn't have a single goal from his office this season. It's all been those kinds of things that you saw there, whether it's off the face-off or the 2-on-1, or he had the deflection against Edmonton. And now, like, he's on a heater, 4-game goal streak. If he starts getting going from his office, good luck, man. Like 40 years old and he's still doing this. This is I can't even begin to describe how difficult this is.
Has there been any talk about? I know there was something about the Caps doing something with the tickets this year, which kind of led you to believe that this could be possibly his last year. But you haven't really seen like the Kopitar kind of goodbye tour. So, like, is this not going to be his last year, or what the heck is he going to do?
I don't believe it, man. I can't believe this is going to be his last year. He strikes me as the kind of guy that's just going to miss being around the boys too much. Like,
you see him like when the guys are getting ready in the hallway. He loves every second of it.
Everyone's got the little handshake with Ovi, and like someone walks out of their ace, there's Sizzler, and then someone else comes out and he's got bands that make her dance and he's doing the thing. It's like, this guy's 40. There's 22-year-olds that don't even do that stuff. This guy's 40. He lives for it.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's up to 907 in his career, and I think if he wanted to, he could probably sniff 1,000. It's just a matter of, does he want to stick around for 3 more years? And there's been talk about the KHL is where he finishes his career, but the guy,
I don't know. You would have to hear that right from his mouth to say, for him to say, I have some desire to go back and play in the NHL. Like, I would think his desire would be more leaning towards 1,000 goals.
1,000
By the way,
goals.
I know. Even saying 900 is totally insane. Totally insane. I remember whoever scored.
Now.
Yeah, 700 was like outrageous. It's like 900 goals. That is crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, the guy's an animal. He still got it. I mean, they put up 8 on Montreal, and we'll welcome Jeff Gorton to the show in about 30 minutes. The Habs are in one right now.
Habs are in one here.
They are.
Habs are in one.
Dude, I'm telling you, Frankie, you were around there. It seemed like not long ago, Marty St. Louis was on the podium saying, am I happy? Yeah, I'm happy. And he was like, we're doing all the right things, and I'm proud of the guys. And 10 days later, it really flipped the switch. That's what's happening to every team. They're just up and down, and I think a lot of it, Jamie calls the league goalie. It's like if your goalie's letting them in, you got no chance, man.
Yeah. Well, and last night, Marty, I think after that game, and I think he said as much afterwards, he's like, we went back 14 months in that game last night. Like, that's what it felt like we regressed to. And one thing on Ovi on the way out, we always talk about playmakers, right, and goal scorers. Ovi's still scoring. He doesn't have Nick Backstrom anymore. Like, it went Backstrom into Strome into, like, whoever. Like, the guy's still doing it. Like, that's greatness right there. He doesn't rely on the one guy that's no longer there anymore to do it for him.
Yeah, congrats to Dylan Strome on the birth of his kid, which happened during the game as well yesterday. So his 3rd child for Dylan Strome. We love the Strome family here at TSN, no doubt about that. Hour 2 is coming up. We'll welcome Mike Johnson to the show. Again, Jeff Gorton, the Canadiens president of Hockey Ops, ahead of Leafs Habs on Saturday night. You're watching and listening to Overdrive.
It's Mail It In Friday.
The plant called and said if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming in Monday.
Woohoo! 4-day weekend.
This is Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Just got a message from one of our insiders, Joe from the Bridge, who claims that he's seen, or it's been reported, that Ovi has been exchanging jerseys. How Joe from the Bridge would come across this information would be completely beyond me.
Well, there's also the
question.
implication that maybe he's been exchanging jerseys for a long time. I'm sure that people asked for Ovechkin's jersey 3 years ago as well, right?
Yeah.
So is that a new thing?
Fake news from Joe from the Bridge. It's on. That's like on Telegram or something, Signal, weird like that. That's not mainstream.
Maybe it's because he broke the record last year and guys haven't got to see him. So anybody who wants to get the 900 or the Gretzky record with a jersey, they bought the jersey, and I don't know. But how Joe from the Bridge came up with that information is fascinating to me, how he would get that.
You got to also keep in mind, okay, we all know Ovi's going to be gone at some point soon. And if you see him once or twice a year, like, now's the time. If you want an Ovi jersey or a stick, you got to get your trainer to get in touch with their trainer ahead of time so they could pack extra on the road trip, and you do the little exchange. And it's not like Joey Call-Up who's doing it. You got to have a little bit of cachet to be a guy who can do that. So maybe that's what's going on right now. Guys are seeing that, like...
you can't ask the guy for yourself. Like, you can't, in the NHL, you can't say, hey, can you sign a stick for me after the game? You got to go trainer to trainer, unless you are boys with the guy and you say to him, look, there's a young kid on the team, he wants a stick, and you shoot one over. You can't say for yourself.
Do you guys have any jersey swaps, stick swaps from your careers? Anything that you kept?
Everything I have. I have to give full props to my dad, because he would pull out a signed autograph stick and tape it up and go and wheel out for men's league and use it. Didn't care. pull it out of the garage.
Gretzky, Lemieux, doesn't matter.
No, my Gretzky one went to his buddy for a charity. Just pulled that one off the rack, and it flew out of my house. Yeah.
Did you give him the
What's
green
with good
light
cause?
to take it or no?
No, it's for charity, so it didn't matter. But he would just grab a signed stick, fire some tape on it, and play men's league on Sundays.
Beautiful thing. I love that. I love that.
But all the big guys, I would just go to the trainer and say, "Hey, can you ask so and so if they can sign a stick?" And sometimes it doesn't happen because just guys are busy, guys are pissed off, they don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's my biggest regret is not getting more sticks from guys that I played with. Like I played with some good players. Played with the Sedin twins. Played with, I don't know, Dion Phaneuf, like one of my favorite guys I've ever played with. Like, why didn't I get more sticks? I played with Crosby. I was like too afraid to ask the trainer, hey, does Sid have any sticks kicking around that I could snag? Like, I don't know. It's
you know
weird,
what I
man.
wish
When
I
you're
did,
just,
Frank? I wish when I played, all the sticks that just like disappear or you're not going to use anymore, you just like take them home. And I would probably have 500 because I went through like 10 a week.
Of your own?
Yeah,
you
like
want your
my
own.
The ones that you're just not kind of using, that you want a freshie, the ones that just got replaced, just shove them in your truck and take them home. And you'd have like 500 to give away.
Before we bring MJ in, did you have O'Neill written on your sticks or did you have O-Dog written on your sticks?
I just had 92 O'Neill. Not written, it's like stamped or whatever.
You didn't have Neeler?
Like
Neeler, your old nickname?
No, I didn't have that stupid name, bud.
What about Dogger?
No, it just said 92 O'Neill.
Well, let's welcome a man who I'm sure a lot of people were looking for jersey swaps and stick swaps in his NHL career. Joining us on the Maple Toyota hotline, it is indeed Mike Johnson. No sarcasm, Mike. I would love a stick of yours.
I don't regret not getting any. What are you going to do with 500 sticks, though? This is going to clutter your garage. This is going to be
like give them away. What somebody
stuff.
says. No. You are right about that because I have a bunch of autographed paraphernalia where ultimately you have to make a decision where it's just like, first it started with my parents where it's in their basement and you get a call and it's like, gotta come and get the stuff. And then it goes into your basement and you're like, what am I going to do with this? Like I have some autographed gloves, some autographed skates. I have a Peyton Manning like autographed helmet that cost me a lot. I was blasted one night at an auction and I paid like $5,000 for it. And I'm like, I might as well give it to Al's brother because he's like he's a Colts fan. So I'm like, why do I have that stupid helmet? I don't need any of it.
Yeah. You just shuffle it around from one storage area to another to another to another. So you finally give it away or throw it away. So,
I know. It's just stuff.
I'm not too upset about it. No. And then you want to talk about using signed sticks. When I was a kid, my dad somehow was working with Glenn Hanlon's brother. So Glenn Hanlon, goalie for the Red Wings. And I was like 10 years old, and I was obviously into hockey. My dad brought me home a signed Steve Yzerman game-used stick for me to like have. I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice. The next day, I cut it, took it out in the street, and played road hockey with it till the blade was this big, and then threw it in the garbage. Like, thanks for coming out for a signed Steve Yzerman twig from like 1980,
Louisville
whatever.
TPS?
I think it was a Titan. But I'm not positive. I think it was a Titan, but I'm not positive.
School.
Like 1984, 85 kind of era. So, yeah, no paraphernalia here, AK, for you, for me, for any. All I got is this thing, whatever. What year is it? My first goal puck. There it is, right over my ear. That's
so
all
you
I
have
got.
no sticks that say, hey, Johnny, like, great playing with you, all the nothing.
Not one. Not literally not one.
Mike,
See, I regret that, Johnny. Well, I wish I had sticks. I wish I had all my buddies, like all the guys I was tight with. I wish I had them. Yeah.
I remember Steve Sullivan.
No, you say that, Frankie. You say that, but then you just look at them and you're just like, that's cool.
I know Sully had like a
dude,
gym
I go down to the garage.
Area.
You go down to the garage, you kind of flex them a little bit.
No, you don't flex them. What you do is, here's what you do with those things when you're our age. You look for guys that have the same first name as you that you can hand them to and say, yeah, hey, Frank.
Johnson in my summer league. Here you go.
Yeah, hey, Frank, you want a signed stick that says, to Frank, best wishes, you're a great guy? That's what you end up looking for.
All right, so MJ, you were, of course, on the call last night for Leafs Blue Jackets. They lose 3-2 in overtime. Fantilli scores the winner. Some positives from the game for sure, some negatives from the game. Would you lean more positive or negative when you consider what last night was for the Leafs?
I suppose, given where they're coming from, AK, and what we've seen the previous sort of 3 weeks, I guess you want to be positive and say the games are more under control. They're not gorgeous. They're not perfect. Of course not. There still are some issues, but the last 3 games have felt more like last year, where there's not as much going on, which is what happened last year. They don't generate a ton, so what happened last year. They don't give up quite as much either. And their goaltender, Joseph Woll in this case, has been really good 3 games in a row. And sometimes you get great plays, William Nylander, John Tavares, and you win those games. And sometimes the other team makes plays, and give Adam Fantilli a ton of credit. That was pretty nice night for him to have in his de facto hometown. But I think in that sense, it's just a little bit more organized. I think the other part about last night's game, I haven't looked at sort of the underlying numbers, but just the eye test, it felt like, so Tavares and Nylander, they're obviously going exceptionally well. But the addition of Lawton back in the lineup and how well he played in that game, and first it was Cowan and Lorentz, that line also looked like it was kind of feeling a chemistry there. And I think like having a couple lines that look like they're going in the right direction, that's also a positive, because that hasn't always been the case in the last little while.
Johnny, what does the power play need right now? It's 0 for 9 over its last 4 games. Like, ultimately, if you could get that going a little bit, those are bonus goals, man. It helps you so much. It relieves some of that stress to score at 5-on-5. Like, what does this power play need to do in the near future?
But before you answer, MJ, I'd just like to comment on it. I think 90% of the comments detailing their power play over the last 5 years might have been might be negative. Like, just saying, what are these guys doing on the power play? They had one stretch, it might have been the lockout year, where they were absolutely insane, and then come playoff time, they fell off. But I just can't believe some of these guys with that much talent, they can't figure out that power play. I really can't.
Yeah, and I know, it's gotten cold at the wrong time. Like in the playoffs, it has really struggled.
Oh, yeah.
But in the regular season, they've sort of been a top 5 to 10 power play in the league the last several years. So it's not like they've been that bad on the bigger picture. Frankie, for me, there's a couple of different things. One, part of the power play problems is zone entries. And that's not about Mitch Marner, but that is something he was good at. Flat out, when you don't have Austin Matthews in the lineup, you have Willie who can skate it in, and who else? Like, is Easton Cowan going to skate it in? Tavares is incredible, but he doesn't do that, like sort of pace and drive it deep. You put McMahon on there, Yarncroke, Riley. Like, this doesn't make it quite as easy. The other part about it is what makes good power plays beyond the X's and O's is when inevitably you get under pressure. Can you either make a play under pressure or buy yourself more time because you're just physically gifted at spinning and turning and you can't get the puck off me, a la Nylander, a la Matthews. And watching without Austin there, as good as Easton Cowan, I think last game was probably his best game as a professional hockey player. He was very good. He doesn't yet have sort of the strength and the quickness to just one-on-one, up by the point, I'm going to rag it for 3 seconds, lose this check, and then keep the play going. It just sort of breaks down there. So I think those couple elements of not being able to get in, and then when they get under pressure, not being able to make plays are a part of it. And, then they just need some breaks. Pucks to that. Simplify, shoot. Tavares, one of the best in the business. When they went on that hot streak, they were getting pucks to Tavares at the hash marks, like into the high slot, and he would shoot or he'd facilitate out to the boards, but like get it to the middle and just not around the outside.
I can't stand. I think these guys have it in their head that this motion is so effective. I can't stand watching it. It's so useless. They just skate around in a circle, and they skate to a guy, and it's like, and then they pass it to him. It's like, what? Why do you feel the need to do that? I always feel like I just get tired of talking like this. It's like William Nylander's got one of the best shots in the National Hockey League. Stand there and be a threat. And if you don't get it, someone else is going to be open because they're going to be afraid to death of your shot. Like a little low play chip, a little play into the middle like he did to Tavares against Buffalo the other day. Like, it's just they circle and they skate around and do all this useless stuff. Like that goal that St. Louis scored at
in Toronto the other night. They were stationary. They recognized the guy didn't have a stick, through the box, one-timer goal. They never score goals like that because they're always wheeling around. Crazy stuff. Go ahead, AK. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead,
like the create, like, and some, you're trying to find a balance between structure and sort of creative instinct. And the guys that are out there are
True.
Your best guys at that balance. But I'm with you, Owen. Again, I'm not picking on Easton Cowan. He was very, very good, Neil. I like what he's seeing. But, like, I watched him play in London occasion. They freelanced, Frankie. They freelanced all over the place, right? Like, he would just sort of go wherever he wanted and fire pucks here and there, and it would work out. And Sam Dickinson would load up a one-timer, they'd score. It's not that easy. And, I thought he made some nice plays in the power play, but he got into that a little bit last night too, where he just started sort of skating around, and I'm going to interchange here and there. And I don't know if everyone's always on the same page when that happens. But, yeah, in these, like, Frankie, we've talked about the three sort of tent-pole things that they won games with. Great goaltending last year in close games, superstar players making superstar plays, and a pretty good power play. So they're going to be in these close games. They got to have these things be the difference makers.
Well, just quickly on the power play before we move off it, like I don't want to make this a Marner conversation because we've done that enough, but when Marner was like the defenseman on the power play, it almost had like an Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes-esque feel to it, where he's not loading up a big shot, but what he's doing is he's making passes that beat players. And when a power play goes cold, it gets stagnant, you can work it around the outside of the ice. You can skate it around the outside of the ice. Do you do anything that beats some kind of coverage and now gives you a 2-on-1 where you can take advantage of a situation? I don't think Toronto's quite doing that right now, and that takes a special talent to be able to beat someone when they're where they're supposed to be. You can still beat them and get an advantage.
Yeah, but that's why they're out there. Like, we shouldn't look at the Maple Leaf power play and say, well, if they only had better players. Like, that should not be. That's why sometimes Columbus doesn't have a good power play. That should not be why Toronto, when healthy, doesn't have a good power play.
Johnny, I don't know what you thought. I know you guys just mentioned his name, but I thought that play to John Tavares and the overall play in the minutes logged by Easton Cowan could potentially be a kickstart game where it's like, if he can build on that, maybe he's got something there. I mentioned him last night, and I talked about the opportunities he's getting in front of the net, some of the breakaways he had to produce. He got a big point last night, and I really think that if he can – do not change that line. I don't care who comes back. Give them a chance to grow, and maybe they can be something, because I thought he looked good. I thought it was one of his best games in, like, the kickstart game where it's like, man, this is fun. And I'm not just kind of skating around chasing the puck. I feel like I'm a part of it, and I feel like I can be a good player. I was really happy for him. I thought he had a great game.
100%, 100%. And there's like a couple of parts of it, right? One is the way he will feel about himself, more confident,
which is big,
more at ease, which is huge. And the other part about being around that bench, okay, does Craig Berube now kind of trust him? Clearly he was. He was putting out their extra shifts in offensive zone situations, trying to get him more touches. We know when everyone's healthy, the Leafs are short a top six winger. For sure. Maybe two. And if Easton Cowan, who ideally would play in that position, we didn't know if it'd be this year or eventually, if he can be that, and given what we've seen from the other players who've had shots at those roles, why not give him a run there, Like, why not? And I get keeping a short leash and making guys earn it, but there's also something to be said for continuity. Like, give guys 4 or 5 games, same line mates, same roles, get Austin Matthews back with Scott Lawton taking defensive zone faceoffs. Like, make it look a little bit different and consistent and the same. And when Nyes and Matthews get back, if that's your second line behind Tavares, Nylander, and Cowan, and then Scott Lawton plays with Lorentz and whoever, like, maybe there is something there that we haven't, that kind of stability that we haven't seen so far this year.
TSN hockey analyst Mike Johnson with us here on Overdrive. Let's talk about Joseph Woll and his return the last 3 games. I think he's been really solid for the Leafs, and every excuse in the book was right there for him, right? Coming off the long absence, didn't have training camp, was joining a team that was playing horribly defensively, and he's been a great stabilizer for the Maple Leafs. I think you can make a case that Joe Woll could be one of the team's most important players going forward. What did you see from him last night, Mike, and what have you seen from him in his 3 starts?
Same, exactly what you talked about. Making saves, looking calm, giving giving you a sense of confidence. We're down there on the ice. Every good chance you don't think it's going in, you think it's going to get stopped. And, he's beat on a pant tip and a wicked shot off a wrist or off the post. The only concern, AK, is the same concern we have for Stolarz.
Mm-hmm.
With Stolarz hurt, and it doesn't seem like, timelines are fuzzy, but he hasn't been back on the ice yet. They've talked about it being maybe more significant than they thought. So I don't know what that means for, how much can you play a guy who didn't prepare properly, like you just mentioned with the training camp and missing time? I didn't think he would play last night. I probably would not have played him if I was the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm like, okay, you can't play every game. We know this. Because now I want to play him on Saturday against Montreal, but that's 4 in a row, 4 in a week. That does start to add up. But he's done everything. He's given you the kind of performance that they were getting last year, that they need, and that he is capable of. So excellent, and timely, because they have needed his stabilizing presence. My only concern, I've heard you talk about it a million times, you want a goalie just to take the ball and say, hey, Joseph, here it is. Go be the guy. 8 out of 10.
You could be a starting goaltender in the National Hockey League and a damn good one. Yeah. Don't give Stolarz the chance when he comes back and to say, oh, it's my net, whatever. It doesn't have to be like that. You could say, it's actually my net now, bud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he absolutely could. Given the concerns about workload, and apparently what's interesting is that, and I don't know if goalies get described this way, but talking to the coaching staff, they've mentioned that Joseph Woll works very hard in practice, which I don't know if that should be a news item, but it's part of managing his energy. They can't even let him practice because he expends so much while practicing. So trying to figure out how he treats his body, to be the guy who demands the net and plays well every night, that is also part of what they're figuring out real time right now.
Johnny, let me ask you this about your practice habits. Did they ever have the same concern about yourself?
I was an efficient practicer. Efficient.
So was I, buddy. So was
I. I was never the true story. I remember when I was trying out, I was in college, and not a very good player or whatever. I got invited to a national team camp, and it was college kids and Ontario University kids. And it was to try to make the national team when there used to be one. And my coaches said, listen, Mike, whatever you do, it's going to be hard to stand out. There's 60 guys on the ice. You're playing 2 sessions. But what you can do, pay attention and go first in every drill. And I sort of and I did that. And I guess I was noticed enough, whatever. But that sort of stuck with me in my pro career. I was a good practice player in that way. Not that I tried that hard, but I always knew what was going on. So I didn't screw up because, don't be a drill buster. Then the coaches don't ever get mad at you for however hard you may be trying or not trying.
The practicing hard thing is a very real thing, though. You hear it from coaches, especially now because practices are 30, 40 minutes at the most. And I can't help but feel like these guys that practice really hard, they're more susceptible to getting injured. And we're seeing a ton of injuries around the league right now. It feels like, doesn't it feel like, Johnny, it's higher than any other year at this point with the condensed schedule? You feel like guys are getting knocked off? It
does, but it doesn't, you would think, Frankie, with the condensed schedule, it would be stuff like groin pulls and strains and back, whatever. It seems like it's broken bones and torn knees and bad shoulder, significant injuries, not sort of soft tissue injuries. But listen, this is what it's going to be. Every team's going through it, and that's why you don't practice very hard, if at all, unless you're in a bad way. In the past few weeks, we've been down at the Leafs practice, and Craig Berube's been grinding them 3-on-3 down low coverage, 5-on-5, the stuff that every player hates to do, but you do when you're not playing well. They've been doing that. But generally speaking, yeah, as far as practicing hard for a positional player, I can go through odd man rushes till the cows come home and never really get that worked up by it. So that's what practices are like now.
Mike, I think everybody respects Max Domi, the way he plays the game. He's had a tough go this season. The way that it ended last night, a really, really ugly play where Fantilli scores on his turnover. He has not had a very good year, and yet Craig Berube, practice today, has him as the number 2 center. Well, what do you make of the way they're using Domi, and how would you advise him to turn it around?
So obviously we all have a relationship. I've known Max since he was, 2 years old. I root for him. I want him to do well. It hasn't been a great fit. I think Max cares a ton, sometimes to his detriment. He wants to be such a positive influence that maybe he gets away from his game. I think at this point, despite working hard at it, he's probably not ideally suited to play center in this team, in this system. It's just not for him. The reason why he's there again today, AK, who are you going to put there in lieu of him? If Nick Waugh is not available and Austin Matthews, you're going to put what, Lorentz again? Like, who are you going to put there? There's no one else. Like Jay Quillen is great, but I mean, like, you know, he's played 2-3 games. You can't, like, there are no other options, so he's got to go there. And if I were to talk to Max, and I'm sure he's going through it, right? Like, you can tell when that goal went in, it was written all over his body language how frustrated and disappointed that he was. He's trying to make a play. He's out there in overtime. He gets an opportunity. He turns it over. Not a lot of forwards are going to get Fantilli on a pivot. So he probably should have just skated backwards and let him take a shot. But these things happen. If I were to tell him what to do, AK, far be it for me to listen to me, I would just say what makes him really good is he's fast. So I would be primarily just concerned about playing fast. And when in doubt, drift towards the net. I find when he gets in the offensive zone, because he is a pass-first guy, like I was, you try to buy yourself time away from the net, and then they break down and nothing good happens. I'm like, Max, you are strong enough, physical enough to get to the net. Just take more stuff to the net all the time. You do that a few times, things will work themselves out and everything else will open up. But yeah, AK, it's tough. And I imagine as soon as one of Waugh or Matthews is available, he no longer plays in the middle. I don't think he has that spot when guys get healthy.
Johnny, I would really simplify with him, and I used to do the same thing as a winger and a guy who played center a little bit. And whenever I got, like, the ice time was reduced or Paul Maurice was pissed, when I got out of it, I morphed into just a simple, hard-working winger. Like, I'm talking, like, really simple. Corner, finish your check, get the puck to the point, and go to the net and crash and bang. And it's amazing what happens. One goes off your ass, or you get an assist on a grinding play, and your confidence comes back. And then all of a sudden, a game later, you're back to being a good player. But that's the only where to start. Forget about the skill stuff and turning up and looking for saucer passes and any of that stuff. Simplify and be like beyond basic, like just literally straight lines and finish every single check that's in front of you. And then after that, everything will follow into place. It's amazing how much it works.
You were an incredibly skilled player. But like whether you're a high end guy like you or a medium end guy, like that's it. When in doubt, dumb it down. Become predictable.
Dumb it down. Like Lloyd Christmas, dumb it down.
Lloyd Christmas, chip your tooth and dumb it down because
yes, chip your tooth is the key.
That's it. Like that's gonna turn everything around. And also, when you stop putting pressure on yourself to make all these plays, you can start feeling good about a game where nothing happens. I got 3 hits. I had a shot from the boards in a scramble.
Your only goal.
I didn't even get a point. But I felt good about because I did what I was supposed to try to do.
You want your goal for him to start this is for the coach to go up to him and say, "You were the hardest working guy on the ice tonight. I loved it. Keep doing it." And there's your start. And everything, the points and stuff will fall into play. Elite point getters, whatever stage of your career on, even if you were one earlier, like you got to do something different. You got to find a way to bring something different. And that's the way I would start with him. Be the hardest working guy on the ice because he's fast as hell. He can surprise defensemen. And when you can do that, you can hit people hard when they're unsuspected and you can hurt them and be really effective. That's where he should start with his game.
He's a bowling ball, man. Like he's a tough guy to play against sometimes.
Dude, that guy could knock people on their asses, man. That should be the start of the new Max Domi, a hardworking guy that finishes every check and has some great hands around the net and can pot some goals, but not like end-to-end rushes, curling up, back passes, toe drags. Forget about it. Start with simplicity, and he can be effective.
Amazingly, it's funny to think about this. I'm just hitting me now. But you know, we went on that run, was it 2 years ago, where he led the team in 5-on-5 points or assists, whatever it was. Like the last 30 games when Austin scored 70 goals, he was like assisting on every one of them. I almost wonder on some level if that has hurt him because he's become so deferential to trying to pass because he had so much success with his time here in Toronto passing. And like I'm down there between the benches and, you know, I'm watching the game and like I can see what he's thinking. And I could see what he's trying to do. And it's always sort of looking to set someone else up as opposed to sort of create for himself. Like his first, second, and third instinct is like, where can I go to find time to pass it to someone? And I would just try to change that a bit, be a bit more direct, like I was talking about. And then we'll see what happens, AK. See what happens.
Yeah, he's got a good shot. He just doesn't use it. And if this guy ripped it, I think he'd score a lot of goals. But for whatever reason, that hasn't been part of his repertoire as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Mike, thank you for this. Have a terrific weekend. We'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, fellas, have a good weekend. And go sort through your garages and see what sticks we can throw away. Put them on the... Where I grew up, Frankie, I put my used sticks under the curb. All the Italian families would come take them, do their tomato plants.
Bingo.
And all put them in their backyard.
Bingo. Do you want...
Cut off the blade, tomato plants.
I got some old CCMs in the garage. You want one of mine? I'll bring it to you. Bring you Corrado.
Cannot wait. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Has my number on it anyways.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is Mike Johnson, who joined us on the Maple Toyota hotline. Get in and go, where adventure takes you in a new 2025 Tacoma from Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall. Visit mapletoyota.com. When I was a kid, I used to send in self-addressed stamped envelopes to hockey teams for like my favorite players. I remember Danny Heatley sent me back like a whole care package of signed cards. I got to dig that stuff out of my parents' storage locker one day soon because I got a lot of thick stuff there.
Like you guys
want sticks?
Yeah, like sent in cards and they signed it. Sometimes they included other stuff. Maybe it's the players or the PR people. But
so you're a seeker. He was a seeker.
It was through the mail. It was through the mail, Frank. I wasn't standing outside the hotel.
Mail seeker.
Buddy, you're a good friend of mine. Like I didn't need new friends when I met you, but there's no chance in hell I want one of your hockey sticks at all.
Dude, I'll sign it for you. No problem.
I don't want. Dude, I've got some of the most famous players in my garage collecting dust. No disrespect. I don't know what I would use that thing for.
Yeah. Tomato plants.
I guess.
Jeff Gorton, the president of hockey ops for the Montreal Canadiens, Leafs Habs tomorrow night. He joins us next.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Mail It In Friday is brought to you by Boston Pizza's NFL Game Day menu. Stop by your local BP for $7 touchdown pints, dialed-in shareables, and weekly prizing up for grabs. Football game days are better at BP. Karolnik, Corrado, O'Neill with you until 6 o'clock. Raptors in action tonight against Washington. Raps are 14.5-point favorites against the Wizards, who are horrible, and they have been horrible for a long time. Raps with 10 wins. They're playing great basketball. So we'll get to that with our FanDuel best bets. And, of course, Leafs Habs tomorrow night. You guys play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're rolling to Montreal on a Saturday night. Anything better than that?
Nothing. I've asked Joe from the Bridge since I started on the show to try to find the clip of me scoring an overtime winner on Jose Theodore on Saturday night in Montreal. Oh. It's maybe my most favorite thing in the world. Hockey night in Canada, like top cheese one-timer. And then Matt Sundin comes and gives you a hug. Brian McCabe, Ugly Face, and Caberlet. There's no better feeling. There's no better feeling Saturday night in Montreal.
Joe hasn't found the clip yet?
No, he's never found it, and he never has even tried, I don't think. He's having a tough show, is my point.
Yeah, we got to get our best people on that because that, I mean, regardless of what side of that rivalry you're on, like Habs or Leafs, it's old. There's history. The buzz in the building is just different than when any other team is in town. It's hard to describe, man.
Even in warm-up.
Yeah.
I think I played in Carolina for a long time. The buzz in warm-up in Montreal on a Tuesday, Saturday, anytime, it's just way different. Like my dad would always say, in Montreal, I always made a point of getting there for warm-up because it was just that exciting. It's just an amazing place to see a hockey game. Four nations.
I had a buddy. I had a buddy who was an assistant coach, and he was like coaching for a team, let's call it not in a traditional hockey market. And he goes to me, he goes, man, you get into Montreal, that's the real NHL. And he wasn't trying to put anyone down, but it's another level, man. Especially, and then you add the rivalry of the Leafs in there. It's pretty special. So it should be a good night. And I mean, both these teams, Montreal's going through it right now.
Oh yeah,
they can't get a save. A lot of the old kind of defensive stuff is creeping back into their game. Like, it's come crashing down here pretty quick for them. They've lost 5 in a row. And Toronto's been what Toronto's been all season, right? Like, really, really inconsistent, a little bit of a failure to launch, tons of injuries. It makes for a pretty exciting matchup. Like, who's gonna come out on top?
It's two teams that need a win. And Montreal's been struggling, 5 losses in a row. The Leafs 1-4-2 over their last 7 games. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a grind for both teams. And, I mean, the Montreal goaltending situation has been something that we've talked a lot about. Let's welcome a man who knows it well. He's the president of hockey operations for the Montreal Canadiens, joining us on OverDrive. Here's Jeff Gorton. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing? Pretty good.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this tonight. We were talking about...
I didn't get the invite when we were on top of the league there. I got the invite when we were on a losing streak, huh? Hey?
That's Korolnik.
Yeah.
Gortz, that was not my decision. I asked to get you early on, but they didn't do it. Yeah.
I think it was Hayes, and he didn't even show up.
I think there's a good chance that's true. A very good chance that's true. So the Leafs in town on a Saturday night. What does that mean for you? I know O-Dog and Frank talked about it as former players. I mean, for you running the show in Montreal, having the Leafs in town on Saturday, what is the buzz like leading up to this one?
I mean, Toronto in Montreal, in Toronto, it's always something. Saturday night's special. I think both teams are not playing particularly well, so it's going to mean a lot, right? Maybe it's something that can turn us around here. We're both going through a little tough stretch, so the game itself means a lot. I mean, in Montreal, Saturday night, any night is fun, but anytime the Leafs come to town, it's a little more fun too.
Gortz, what do you make of the wild swings this year, not just from your own club, but basically it seems like 90% of the league. It's just like there's a 2-week stretch where you're undefeated. It doesn't seem like too long ago Marty was up on the podium talking about how proud he was of the group, and then 2 weeks later it's a completely different scenario. Is that parity? Is that something that you just think is part of the game now with the way the league is set up, the scheduling, short training camp? Like, what do you make of it?
Oh, it's probably a little bit of everything. I mean, like you said, we had a good start. Were we really a 10-3 team? I'm not sure, but I hope we're not a 0-5 team either. But I think it's a little bit of everything. You know, the games come fast and furious, and if you're losing, it's hard to get out of it. Whereas if you're winning, you're rolling, you're feeling good. Let's play every night. Right now, we're not winning, so it's like, how about a little week off here? So it's a grind. I think the teams are all pretty close. You're seeing a lot of these teams that have rebuilt come out and play really well and young and energized. You're seeing more teams like that are coming out of that rebuild. So it's fun. Listen, there's not too many teams running away and hiding. Usually we have a few teams by now that are doing that. It seems like Colorado is the only team, right?
Gortz, you got some significant injuries now. Alex Newhook, Kirby Doc, Patrick Laine, Caden Goalie. Like, those are pretty big players for your team. Like, I'm sure you'd want to see what's out there on the market. Like, how quiet are things, or how hard is it to complete a transaction right now with everyone just kind of being jumbled up in the standings?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. It's pretty tough because everybody feels, they're one good week away from being right in it, right? So, we've kind of showed both things. You have a couple good weeks, you're at the top. You have a bad 10 days, you're heading out. So it happens pretty quickly. So I think it's probably premature that you see too many trades. We're all kind of getting a handle on what we are. I think around the league, there's tons of injuries. There's very few teams that don't have them. So that means there's probably less players on the market because, we're all dealing with injuries and it's hard to get rid of players.
Gortz, you just mentioned trades. I was mentioning my frustration, and I know that presidents and general managers, they don't care about my feelings or Brian Hayes' feelings, but it seems like it would be so much better for the game if there was more kind of player movement. And I know it's so difficult with the salary cap and the way contracts are structured and guys that have no movement clauses, but man, it was fun during the day when it was like a team was struggling. You want a little bit of a shake-up. They went out and got a guy, and not just a guy that was off the scrap heap, like a good player. It just seems like those deals are so hard to make and they never happen anymore, and I don't think it's good for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. It's more fun and guys in my position to be able to wheel and deal. But yeah, there's a little less of that. I understand it's cap related. It's probably the fact that everybody's so close. You could kind of throw a blanket over a lot of teams, right? So it's I agree. It's definitely more fun when there's some player movement. Maybe the players like it a little better. They can go to bed at night knowing that you're not dangling that over their heads, right?
Jeff Gorton's
probably
our
always
guest.
played. You always played better when we were hanging that over your head, right?
Yeah, it wasn't around my head much, but it was always out there.
Jeff Gorton with us, the president of hockey ops
earlier.
for Montreal. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. I was listening to O-Dog earlier. He was talking about dumb it down. I was going to, if he didn't have a Toronto Maple Leaf Blazer, I was going to have him speak to our team tomorrow. Maybe we could dumb it down.
Gortz, it's so true. Like, it seems like we're in a day and age, and I see these kids where they're like, they have to be told so much about the details about playing simple. I think it's from when they're younger, man, and they all think they're Connor McDavid, and they're wheeling 100 miles an hour around, and they all think they're 50 goal scorers, and they don't finish checks, and they don't simplify, and therefore you get a team or individuals that make life difficult on themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt to it. Like, right now we're in a funk, right? We're not getting much of anything, and we're just in it, and it just. It's like one bad thing turns into two, and you just got to get out of it. But you're right. It's we're doubling down. We're heading to the table, and we're going to get out of it. We're going to go rink wide, and we're going to try to make as many plays as we can. And there's other teams are shoving it down our throat right now. So I was listening to you, thinking about two things. One is maybe you could talk to our team, and the other is you could talk to my son too. I tell him that all the time. Just go to the net, dummy it down a little bit. Maybe your coach will fall in love with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and the other thing, like, you're doing this with the youngest roster in the NHL, and one of the other things about dumbing it down is I find when it's younger players, like game management, managing the score, managing the clock, like, we've talked about that so many times on this show, right? Like, that's something that is just, it's not taught the way that it used to be because everyone's doing, like, the pylons and the YouTube stuff. Like, how do you guys kind of internally manage your, I don't want to say expectations because you have high expectations for your group, but like, how do you manage the youth of your team and what you guys think you should be accomplishing on a night-to-night basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, Frankie. The thing is, I think Marty's, the one thing he's always done is let them play, and, now as we're getting better, there are those times where we're going to have to look in the mirror a little more and say, you know what, you can't just make plays anytime you want to make plays, right? We're always in 1-goal games, or we were until the last week. So just staying on it, managing it. I mean, it's something, you're right. Like, these guys are coming in the league, they're so skilled, and they've never really had to play that way. So I don't know. Some guys figure it out quicker than others, so.
Jeff, I promise I'm not trying to get you fined here. But I need to ask you about the Tom Wilson, Jake Evans situation from last night. What's the latest on Jake, and what did you make of the play as a whole?
I mean, hopefully Jake will be fine. We'll find out tomorrow more. But, it's just a hard play. That's, Tom Wilson's been doing that forever. He's figured out where the line is, I guess, better than others. Most teams in the league would be happy to have a player that plays that physical brand of hockey and the impact he has. So I'm not naive to that. I just think that he's somehow towed the line better than others, and he's got a better understanding of what's okay and what's not okay, I guess. I've been on the wrong side of a couple of his hits for our players, so it gets a little frustrating. But I understand what he's doing. I understand how impactful he is. We played against him in the playoffs last year, so it is what it is. But it's a different era, I guess.
When you look at your roster, and I'm sure you're always trying to make improvements while allowing the players that are on the roster to prove themselves, like, do you see that and be like, we could always use a forward who has a similar type of effect, like someone big, fast, who's going to do those types of things? Like, there's only one Tom Wilson, but like, is that something that you look at with your group and I would welcome something like that?
Yeah, without question. I think all 32 teams would welcome a guy that can skate and has that kind of impact every night. So, like I said, we're not naive to it. We all are looking for players like that, but they are harder and harder to find, right? So it's when you get them, you hold on to them like Washington has, I guess.
Thank you for doing this tonight, Jeff. We appreciate it. We'll make sure the O-Dog will be speaking to your son and maybe your team tomorrow night. Who knows?
Well, and when you're back at first,
I'll take him up on
the
it.
show.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Consider it done.
Anytime. Oh, Dog, by the way, I noticed I was hanging around here on the show. You seem to be way behind in these football bets. It's surprising to me.
You know what? It's very surprising to me as well, Gortz, because my partner is a former NFL player, and I kind of lean on him, and he's really jamming me up in this situation. So, like right a good athlete, I'm not taking I won't take responsibility. Thanks for doing this, Gortz.
All right, guys. Anytime. See ya.
Thank you. That is Jeff Gorton, the president of hockey ops for the Canadians. Leafs Habs tomorrow night. See, they're keeping track of the big battle between Owen Wilson and Hazenbrough in La Belle Provence. And
I was going to tell him hashtag now we go, but I didn't think that was an appropriate time.
I think he's an OverDrive viewer.
You told him that? Like you told the president of hockey operations, like, hey, Gortz, Saturday night at the Bell Center, now we go.
Yeah, and then started chanting, now we go. Go, Leafs, go. He would have hung up his phone.
Probably rightfully so. But again, thanks again to Jeff Gorton for joining us. We'll have our FanDuel Best Bets to wrap up the Friday afternoon edition of OverDrive next. Time now for today's Best Bets. They're powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We're on Brandon Ingram to score 20. Jamal Shed, 4 assists. Jakob Poeltl, 15 points. A juicy plus 388 SGP on FanDuel. From tip-off to the final buzzer, the NBA Cup is available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19 plus, physically located in Ontario. Seeing a tweet from the Atlanta Braves moments ago. The Braves today declined to tender contracts for Alek Manoah. So they claimed him off waivers, and they're not even offering him a contract for the upcoming season. I wonder
Why would they do that?
I wonder if this is the end for Manoah. Maybe they got to look at him, and they thought, no thanks.
Dude, what on earth happened to that guy?
Crazy.
I thought he was kind of out of shape when the pitch clock, and then he got in shape, and then he had the surgeries. Like, that guy could be facing the reality that he's doing something other than pitching a baseball. Like,
he never really made money either. Like, he never cashed in. And he was top 3 in AL Cy Young voting and was regarded as one of the best young pitchers in the game, and just fell apart so fast.
He started an all-star game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, not that long ago, a couple years ago.
Exactly.
Like, doesn't that scream like you're going to go over to Asia and see if you can try playing baseball there and play there for the next 10 years, try and make some cash? If you can do it, I guess. But. Well,
it kind of reminds me of a golfer like Hunter Mahan, who was like a top player on the PGA Tour for a time, and then he just stopped being able to play.
Dude, David Duval was the number 1 player in the world, and then he could not put it on the earth. Like, he could not hit a fairway, and then you just disappear, man. That's one of the scary mental things about pro sports. It's like every morning you wake up, Frankie, I don't know if you have this, but it's like, do I have it still? Like, am I going to score? Am I going to score ever? Like, am I going to play
every
good?
Day. Dude, my daily was like, am I getting sent down today? You know, like, that was, it depends. You're in different tiers of, like, players at the highest level. That was usually my tier. Like, can I get in the lineup? And okay, if I'm not, am I getting sent down? Like, that's where I kind of lived usually.
Well, it's crazy with Manoah, and I mean the Blue Jays, they're going to be aggressive, and I wonder if we see Alek Manoah pitch in the majors again. And just think about a couple of years ago, if you had even suggested such a possibility, it would be impossible. But that is very much the reality facing Alek Manoah. Terrific to be with you guys for the last couple of hours.
AK, buddy, I just want to tell you, great to be with you, too. You were awesome at the Grey Cup. You've become an awesome broadcaster, and I'm happy for you.
That's very nice. That's very nice of you to say.
Buddy.
Thank you, Jeff. Brian Hayes will be back on Monday at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.